Welcome to the Lose Your Big Ass Stomach podcast. I'm your host, Jay Jackson, and my mission here is to help you get rid of that big ass stomach and take back control of your health so that you can look and feel your best by being the best version of yourself, mentally and physically, while destroying the mediocre agenda society is trying to brainwash you into, and breaking our families' generational curses of being unhealthy by being a healthy and fit role model. It's time to set a new standard. It's time to set a new standard of living. If you find the podcast helpful, be sure to hit that follow button because that helps us build a movement. Let's go. Guys, I want to bring to y'all's attention one of my amazing clients, Lance Moore, man. I'm super proud of this guy. You know, he came in just trailblazing inside the community just a little over 3 months ago, right at about 3 months, actually. You know, I want to share a story because I know this is going to be so powerful for so many guys and women and so inspiring. But Lance, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Blessed to be here.
Absolutely, man. I'm proud of you, man. You know, as people always see on social media, they hear about the highlight reel, people dropping, 30, 50, 100 pounds. But, the way I like to do the podcast when I'm talking to a lot of my members about y'all's success, I like to go into the backstory first. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so let's dive into the backstory before you got to where you are right now, even before we started working together.
Okay.
What's life like? What type of challenges were you experiencing on your weight loss journey?
So my challenges were a lot, man. I'm not gonna lie. About for the last 4 years, I've been working from home,
Mm.
and the pandemic hit. I transitioned to working remotely, and I thought I was living the dream. I was like, I'm at home. I don't got to get dressed, right? I get to just do whatever I want. And I realized over time, it started to detach me from the outside world. I got so used to being in my environment at home. I didn't have to go anywhere for anything. I didn't have anybody to, socialize with during the day. So I just became very unhealthy and I didn't really realize it. I also, just kind of was struggling with, I'm a high energy, high motivation, high ambition person. And I was kind of getting to a place where I just, how like Fantastic Four, he's like, flame on.
Yeah.
I just couldn't flame on. I just was like, after a while, it was just like I wasn't getting dressed for work anymore. I was just kind of, slumming and bumming, you know what I mean? And kind of just getting caught up in life. And things were just going down slowly but surely. My mental clarity, my focus, and my health, right? I started having some serious back pain, lower extremity pain, not able to bend down and pick things up for my kids. Definitely wasn't running nowhere, right? And it was getting really tough. And just going through that, not realizing how to get out of it, really. And food and eating and snacking became my comfort, right? I grab that popsicle, I go get my little chips,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling good because why? I'm at home, I'm on my computer, I'm eating my chips in the middle of the day. I'm just kind of just hanging out and just losing touch with, anything that wasn't in my environment. So that's the backstory of how we got there. And then one day, shout out to my Isha. She came home and she was like, "Hey, it's I've been praying and it's in my spirit. We got to become more holistic." This was her, and I was just like, "Holistic, okay." You kind of listen to what your wife say, right? So I'm like, "Okay, well, what does that look like?" And it started out with some subtle changes, right? We started juicing.
Yeah.
We started making fresh juice and, we started trying to do it ourselves. She was like, well, we could meal prep and I'm going to make some curry chicken with the coconut rice. And we thinking, all right, well, we eating good. We getting healthy. We doing this.
Right.
And it was kind of like that for a while, but we weren't seeing results. But to be honest with you, I wasn't even looking for results. I was more just, okay, let's just eat different. That's fine. I really wasn't locked in. I was just kind of, just taking it how it came.
Right.
But she was the one that was just like, this ain't enough. It's not working. And
Mm.
one day she came home and she said to me, "Hey, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but I contacted a coach, and he's a man, and I don't want to take the meeting by myself. Out of respect, you, my husband, if you could just come and listen,
Yeah.
just be with me." I was like, "Okay, I could do that." And at the time, I'm gonna be real honest. At the time, I was at the cigar bar, man. And I was at the cigar bar drinking a glass of wine, just, whatever. And I was like, I got to go. And that's kind of how that's how we got there, from the backstory of her recognizing that I was becoming more and more unhealthy, and it was causing me to have, physical problems, my mind, and it was honestly spiraling to even into some more sort of depression,
Mm.
right? It was changing the outlook that I had on everything. It was just kind of taking me down, and I couldn't understand where that was coming from. And it really led me, and I'm gonna be real transparent,
Yeah.
it led me to a place of prayer. It led me to, becoming a more spiritual person and trying to find something. And I remember praying with my wife for discipline. I need discipline. I need to find that discipline, because I kept hearing discipline equals freedom.
Mm.
Discipline equals freedom. Just the 10% of the people that are successful is because they have the discipline to do what they got to do every day. And I was just like, okay. And I prayed about discipline, and everything just kind of took off from there. Shout out to the Most High. It kind of took off from there, and he kind of used her, because I would have never done it. I was like, I don't need to pay nobody to tell me what to do. I can use AI. I can just go ask Gemini right now how to lose weight.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? That's me. I'm a technology person, so it's like, man, listen, we can Google it. But it was definitely the Most High definitely used my wife to bring me to a place to get what it was I was praying for.
Oh man, that's powerful. I know people who are gonna listen to this are gonna just that part alone is gonna help
Mm-hmm.
them understand how to start navigating life a little bit better. Not even just with their health and fitness, but just in general. The
Mm-hmm.
power of prayer, and also just having that union with your wife. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
got it. Um, and what was like that moment for you? Because I know she mentioned to you like, hey, we need some help. Like I went ahead and booked
Mm-hmm.
a coach. Like what moment
Mm-hmm.
for you when your brain shifted and was like, yeah, it's time to make this happen. Like at what point did that happen for you?
If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
it happened for me. It didn't happen for me until after we started.
Uh-huh.
When we initially signed up,
Yeah.
I did that for her,
Okay.
right? Because I believe the word, I don't want to do it too much, but the word said, "Love your wife like I love the called out assembly." And if my wife was adamant to the point where she went out and found a person, brought it to me, and was ready to make the plunge, it was like, I got to do this with her. So in my initial why wasn't for myself. It was for the support of my wife, because I still felt like I don't need to pay nobody to tell me what to do. I'm a man at the end of the day.
Right, right, right.
I am man. You know what I'm saying? So but my actual switch flip happened after we had the play call, and then you gave me the documentation. Once you gave me the plan,
Mm.
and it was a blueprint, it was you can't go wrong. It was eat this much, here's your workout, here's the schedule, here's everything you need to be successful. If you fail, it's because you didn't do the work.
Mm.
And I was like, well, I really got no excuse. And after I got started, after that initial start happened, and I think within the first week, I saw like a huge change. Once I started eating those meals, the food, the food woke me up, because once I started eating those meals, that's when I realized the food was poisoning me.
Mm.
Because everything I described just a minute ago that I was going through started to fade. once I changed what I was putting in my body. I never ate fruit with my breakfast. Never. But once I started coming out of that comfort zone, and again, shout out to my Isha because she was cooking the food, right? So I had a little bit of help because she was so into it with me
Right.
that she was prepping the bowls. And so all I had to do was follow the program. Everything was laid before me. You came in, gave us the platform, gave us the plan. She came in, started cooking the food, prepping the food. I had no excuse. And then once I started doing it and I started seeing, man, my mind is sharp. I'm killing it at work right now. Like, what? Oh yeah, I'll take that project. I'll take this project, no problem. And I started feeling that flame on come again. And once I started feeling that, it was like, oh, I can do this. Let's go. I'm all about trying to, you know what I mean? I'm all about this is me. This is what I remember. This is what I've been missing. And
Right.
the more I started to follow and and get out of my own way, get out of what I thought, get out of what I had been trained to learn in the world and kind of really get to a place of understanding, it was like, this is what's wrong. It's the food, man. I
Mm.
would go to bed at night with two Canada, two cranberry ginger ales next to the bed, fresh and cold. I got the little, the big cups that we can get, the big thermal with the ice in it.
Right.
I was that dude, big bag of candy. You know what I mean? Like I was putting myself to sleep at night. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was putting myself to sleep in a sugar coma every night because I was just flooding my system with candy, drinking Canada Dry soda, and eventually falling asleep. And
Wow.
I didn't realize it.
I believe a lot of people go through that, man. We had like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I can't say we, because I don't, but I used to. We had like
Mm-hmm.
a stash next to our bed that we eat.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know it's easy to grab. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes, sir.
were there other eating habits that you had prior to working with me? That
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So listen, let's talk about going out to dinner.
Mm.
I think the money, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I want to say this on the record.
Mm.
A lot of men that are successful, or at least we feel like we're at a certain level of success, and I'm talking about money,
Right.
right? That's all we think about. The money going to take care of everything. So I go to the restaurant. I'm going to Longhorn. I'm getting the stuffed mushrooms. I'm getting the Parmesan encrusted ribeye. I want the fully loaded baked potato and that 500-calorie drink that I'm going to get. Plus, I'm going to need a couple, you know, drinks before my meal comes.
Right. Right. Right.
So my overall eating was just off the chart. I'm probably eating 1,500, 2,000 calories per meal.
Yeah.
Like per meal, that's what I'm putting down. And I didn't know it because I was uneducated on tracking food, on macros,
Right.
right? I'm thinking, well, I'm gonna eat a salad today. That's gonna be a little better for me. But I'm a dressing type dude. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even just use one dressing. I'm gonna mix my dressing. You're gonna get the ranch, and I'm gonna have to put a little vinaigrette with it, right? And we're gonna have to mix it a little bit, put some salt and pepper and a little season on there, and then hit it with the red wine vinaigrette, not realizing you just killed the salad. But it was so good, but you racking them calories up and you don't really realize that. And then I was just off the chain from the going to bed eating to any time I was going to eat something, it was always going to be a steak and potatoes. Or my wife would tell you, I gotta cook meals because my husband liked it. You know what I mean? It's got to be three course meal every trip,
Yeah.
and maybe a little dessert too. You know
Right.
what I mean? And food, I just didn't have a good relationship with food or a good understanding of food.
Yeah. That.
So I struggle big time looking back at it now. This program really saved my life because if I think about the trajectory that I was really on at that time, I was headed for diabetes for sure. I'm headed for a problem, right? And you know, seeing your videos and listening to your podcast about how you talk about things like sleep apnea. I have sleep apnea,
Mm.
straight up, right? That's a thing for me. And hearing your story about some of your family members with sleep apnea and things like that, it was like once I started, because when we signed up, then I had to do the research, right? Because I had to go with the play because she was ready, but I was like, man, let me look at this, let me look at this a little bit more and make sure we not, you know what I mean? And as
Right.
I started to understand the story and the passion that you have for this based on things that you've gone through and family and friends, then it started to go, oh, okay, because I got sleep apnea. I've had that for a while. I've had that actually a good long time, and I didn't even know about it until maybe 5 years ago when my wife, again, shout out to my Isha, she said, "Baby, you're stopping breathing and you're sleeping. It's scaring me. It's scaring me. Like you've always done it, but this last night it was just way too long, and I was really thinking that you weren't going to wake up." And she pushed me to go to the doctor, and I was like, okay, because it was getting bad. I couldn't understand why I would be at the stoplight and just fall off to sleep.
Oof.
That's how bad it was, and I would be like, man. No, I'm okay. And I had that pride thing where she would be like, let me drive. Nah, I'm good, man. We good. Come on, let's go. All right, just roll the window down. And she finally pushed me to get that sleep study. And when I did that, I ended up just like you said in the video, with a sleep app machine and this and that. And I can honestly say, since I've done got to this, getting through this and starting to spin the wheels on the bus, it's not necessary anymore.
That's
You know
awesome.
what I'm saying? If I skip, I've never skipped nights before, but now if I drop off to sleep and skip a night, I'm not waking up feeling like,
Right.
oh, I didn't get no sleep last night. You know what I mean? And it's all coming, like you said, it's just coming from number one, different relationship with food, and then number two, understanding that when you don't have a good relationship with food, these things start happening to you, which you don't understand why they're happening to you,
Right.
but it's all happening to you because of what you're choosing to put in your body.
So true.
And so that's really the answer to that question.
Man, I really appreciate you opening up and sharing that because
Absolutely.
it's a lot of people in our culture that go through these types of things, and especially
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to kind of brush it up underneath the rug. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we had a
Mm-hmm.
pride, we had an ego. I mean, I'm all right. I don't need.
Yep.
It'll be all right. It'll all work itself out at some point. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people don't think that it could get bad for them.
And
They
you know what? I'll give you another one, Coach. I know what mine was. I was more concerned with providing for my family
mm,
than I was concerned with taking care of myself.
mm,
Right? It's about as a man, as a father, and a husband. Your priority is never you. It's
mm.
everybody else. I got to make sure my team's strong. I got to make sure my wife get what she need. My children got to get what they need. I got to be dad to them. I got to make sure I'm showing up and doing the things that might not have happened for me when I was a kid, right? All of those things come first, and you never stop to think about what do I need?
Right, right.
What and in your mind, and then we grew up, right? I grew up hearing stories about my grandfather and how much of a man he was to say he had a broke hip and he went and got in a manhole because he used to work construction and he went and worked all day bleeding. Those are the stories I grew up hearing about what a man was. So it puts that thing in you where you like, man, I gotta be a man at the end of the day. It is what it is. Strap it on my back and keep moving. As long as my family good, that's my legacy. Right. And you get into that mode. And once you get in that mode, you kind of it kind of puts you in a tunnel and you start weighing your success based on how well you take care of everybody else. And you never think to take care of yourself.
Wow, man, that's powerful. So knowing
Mm-hmm.
how has anything shifted with your mindset now, knowing what you
Oh, absolutely.
how do you
Oh, absolutely.
for all the parents may be listening, like what's your perspective on things now?
So my perspective on things now is more, I have to take care of myself so my children know how to take care of themselves. And it goes back into, like I was told you, finding out what it meant to be a husband in scripture. You start to realize that where the head goes, the body will follow. So if I'm the head and I'm working out and I'm eating clean and I'm pushing these positive things, my body, which is my family, has no choice but to follow. So now my son want to work out. Now my daughter want to cheerlead. Now my wife is killing it, right? And it's all happening because the motor is there to go. Let's go. Let's go. My children see me get up on the weekend and go 10 miles on the gravel. They like, Dad, I want to go too.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just know we going 5 miles this way and we're gonna have to come 5 miles back. So it ain't no point, it ain't no turning around in the middle. But they just want to be with Dad. We outside. Come on. Right now the challenge becomes I can do more push-ups than my son at the moment, right? But he is aggressively coming. Oh no, Dad. Because what does every son want? They want to beat their dad. And what does every dad want? I want you to win. I just ain't gonna give it to you easy.
There you go.
Right. So now because of these changes, I'm better for my family, and my family is better for me. And I'm preparing them to be better in the next generation. I have 3 generations of children, right? I have one that's 18 and in college. I have 2 that are 12, and I have 1 that's 4, right? And those are 3 different generations. And now I'm able to let them know, hey, listen, we don't do the mediocre, right? You got a sports car, you put 93 octane in it. Your body is your temple. Your body is what allows you to be connected to the Most High, right? Your body is everything. So if you are not taking care of your body, you're literally on the sideline before you even start the game.
Oof.
You're just becoming a slave to your norm.
That's so deep, man. Oof. Man, it's gonna change somebody's life right here. Somebody's life about to get changed. Listen to this podcast, man.
Listen, man, I'm hoping that's my goal right now is any other husband, any other fathers out there, any other men out there that are questioning what happened to me. Where am I? How did I get here? The answer is you got to start taking care of you. You got to start taking care of your mental health. You got to start just carving out that little bit of time. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be honest. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. My alarm goes off at 3 a.m. I snooze it till about 3:30. 4 o'clock in the morning is when I get it in. And that's because my family's still sleeping. I couldn't take away from nothing else, right? I got to work. I got to be dad. I got to be the husband. I can't wait till after 8 o'clock in the morning to get this. I got to get mine in first. And that's the sacrifices that fathers and husbands and men, that's what we got to start making in order to be the example that we want our children to see. If you want to be that guy, if you want to be that leader, you got to do what leaders do. And that's step up and cut out the mediocre agenda. Michael Jordan did not become Michael Jordan sleeping in the bed till 8 o'clock. He didn't do that. He was up, getting to it. He had that fire, and that fire will come as soon as you change that food, because it's that food that's weighing you down. As soon as you start changing the food, everything starts to become, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, I got this new power now.
Right.
I got this energy now. How fast can I go? It's like, I don't know, movie references, right? If you ever seen Superman when he was a kid and he first realized he was Superman.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I could jump over the bus. I could jump this high. Wait a minute, can I fly too? Right?
Right.
And that's how it feels when you start this journey. It feels just like that. You're tapping into your superpower.
That's awesome, man. I love that for you, man. You and your family.
Absolutely.
Everybody's listening, and I know I'm super inspired, and I admire you, because I don't have children yet, but it's like, I know it's not easy. As a coach, I understand easy. It's already hard for a person in general to lose weight. Not to mention if you have to be a leader, not just for yourself, but for your family. your
Mm-hmm.
children, your wife. Like that's a whole nother battle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
balance all these things and still take care of yourself. It's very admirable. And so, the people who are watching right now and listening, I know they've been waiting. They're like, okay, well, what kind of results he got? So over the past 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
what type of results have you gotten over the past 3 months in the program?
Okay, I'm gonna start slow.
Okay. Okay.
The first the over the last 3 months, my body has changed to the point where I haven't looked like this since I was in college. And that was over 20 years ago. The last 90 days, I went from 298 pounds to 258 pounds as of today. As of today, weigh in is on Friday. I just weighed in this morning and I am 258 pounds for a grand total of 40 pounds down, baby.
Let's
And I'm
go.
feeling great, right? I'm feeling great. My clothes are, again, living that work from home lifestyle. I don't get dressed. I'm literally putting on Adidas joggers, and an old T-shirt, and I'm coming in my office every day. I recently had to get dressed. About maybe 2 or 3 weeks back now, I had to get dressed, and I had to go present myself. And every pair of pants in my closet, mind you, this is a true story. I had not put on a pair of jeans since I started the program because it's just my life was just joggers and T-shirts. And I went to put on a pair of jeans. And but when I started this program, I was wearing a 44, 42, depending on the jeans, right? But we always have that stretch goal. So we got like that pair of 40 waist jeans in your closet because they don't make them in your size and you thinking I'm gonna get there.
Perfect.
Not only did I get there, but those 40 waist jeans are too big. My waist is now a 38. I haven't been a 38 waist since I was in college. At like 21 years old, something like that. And I'm 41, by the way. So all the rumors that tell you when you get 40 it's too late, garbage. You
Uh,
get 40, it's prime time. It's
yeah.
prime time for me. I'm 41 years old and I'm getting there and my body is changing and it's almost like aging backwards. Literally is how it feels. I felt like I was 41 years old 4 months ago in January.
Right.
Today, I'm about ready to go play basketball, coach. I feel like I could run some pickups for real. And it just all because of, you know, the change, the weight loss. You don't understand. I read somewhere, like losing like 10 pounds of fat is taking like 20,000 pounds of pressure off your knees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because your knees are the first thing to go.
Yep.
You carrying that extra weight, your heart working extra hard because you got this extra weight on you. You know what I mean? And your body literally starts to cave after a while.
Yeah.
But losing 40 pounds, I'll tell you another truth. When I first started, I couldn't run. I could not run. I hadn't ran. I love running. Running is something that I always like doing, right? My oldest child is a track athlete, crazy, D1, scholarship, right? Running is always something I love doing. But over time, it just got to be too much, slamming that weight down on my knees, my lower back hurting. Going through this program, I can run a 5K, no sweat. And that was like a huge milestone for me. Like, wow, I'm really back. I can do this. So, just losing that weight, and substantially like watching it, it just starts to fall off. I'm telling you, like once you start, get ready because it's gonna work. If you just get out of your own way and realize you have came to a person that specializes in taking weight off your stomach. That's it. If you, and most men, at least myself included, I'm gonna spend the money anyway. Right. I'm gonna go get that pair of J's. I'm gonna go get that. For me, it's not necessarily J's. It's always technology equipment. Right. I'm gonna go get that. I'm gonna go just spend this money anyway.
Yeah.
Why not invest in yourself in something that's gonna make you better? Because the investment that we put in, we the ROI, right? The return on investment. I'm standing here right now, and I would pay it 10 times over to feel how I feel today.
Wow. Wow, that is amazing, man. Jeez. I get goosebumps listening to that.
It's
That's
true, man. It's true.
that's
True.
awesome. So I'm curious though, like going throughout the program, what were like the 2 to 3 things that you feel like had the biggest impact on you being able to, drop these 40 pounds over the past 3 months?
The Lions Den,
Mm,
seeing Ann,
yeah.
seeing Kataka,
Mm,
seeing other men that were in my situation coming to a different level of life, right? Brandon, seeing Brandon, huge. The Lions Den is a huge part of it because you're constantly being shown there's other people that are doing it too. When you need ideas, what to cook, right? You run out of ammo, right? You can only eat so much chicken.
right.
But if you in the Lions Den, you seeing people that might have been in there a little longer than you, they done learn how to finesse it now. You know what I mean? They making different things. They taking the turkey meat and putting some taco seasoning on it, and you like, oh, that look good. Then you get the other things that I would say is the Lions Den is number one. But number two, it's the content that you produce. And I'm not just talking about like the Instagram posts or the reels, more so the podcast. I went back to the very first pod. There was last I looked, there was like 267 or 268 podcasts. I went back to the beginning and started going forward. And as I listened and I heard things and I saw the grind and I felt the grind of watching and listening to you in my weak moments, because I remember I'm home all day. I'm sitting in this spot in this room with access to anything I want. But those podcasts and those YouTube videos, right? Being able to click on that when I want some candy, being able to click on that and hear you be real. Like, hey man, I used to eat honey buns like all the time. Like was my jam. I'm just eating the candy, selling the candy at school, and that was getting me like, I felt that. I know what he's talking about. Yep. And then again, to see you, right? Because this is what we as men don't like to do. I'm gonna give you your flowers, coach, because listening to that story of you change your life motivated me as a man. Listening to the stories between you and your pops made me want to be that type of dad to my son, to produce what your father has produced, a game changer, right? I might not never get to the Corvette level, but my son can, and I can give him the tools to get there. So the podcast and the YouTubes will be my number two biggest thing, because even though you're doing it, there's going to be negative thoughts. There's going to be negative speak. There's going to be those moments when you like, man, I'm good. I'm about to go get a drink, or I'm about to go do this or do that. And you're going to need that positive reinforcement, that offline. I'm just sitting here. I'm listening to something, and you have to keep it before you. And you have such a library of content that you're able to stay in the game. You're able to keep your head in the game by saying, you know what? I think the most powerful thing you said in the podcast was, I don't wake up every morning and automatically be in the mood for this. Sometimes I have to get up, put my pods in, and listen to some positive energy to get my engine going, right? To get my engine going. And I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth, and that's what I'm listening to. And as I heard you say that, and you just dropped these jewels, like you call it free game. It really is free game, because if you start putting some of these things into practice, that's one of the things I started doing. I'm that type of person. I don't wake up in the morning and I'm on go, especially at 3 in the morning. But I wake up in the morning, them pods are sitting in the bathroom on the counter, my phone, grab it, go, let's go to the next podcast. That's why I started at the beginning.
Right,
I
right.
started at the end. So I got enough ammo to keep going all of these days, throw the podcast on and rock out. So that's my number two. And then I would have to say my number three, definitely my Isha, definitely my wife. My wife, you know, she helped me in ways because she helped me break the bad habits. She won't buy the candy.
Right.
She won't let me get a soda. There hasn't been soda in my house in 3 months, right? She encouraged me to get on different sparkling waters. So I'm a sparkling water king. I got the Waterloos, I got the these, I got all the sparkling water in the world, right? So that would have to be my number three.
That is awesome, man. And for everybody, I know you mentioned the Lions Den. For everybody who's listening who may not know, the Lions Den is a community with all my members. Lance mentioned Ann. Ann's down 104 pounds. He mentioned Kataka. Kataka's down over 60. He mentioned Brandon. Brandon's down over 50. So it's I created when I first started doing coaching, I didn't have the Lions Den community. It was just somebody would sign up with me and they would just interact with me. But then I realized I was doing people a disservice because there's so many other people that they could be relating to throughout their journey and value from, not just from me. And so how you see Ann drop 100+ pounds, you see Katana, see Brandon, you see what they're eating and not just what I'm eating. You see the challenges they experience and you see how authentic they are with their situation and not just mine. It helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so
That's what helped. That absolutely helped me. And shout out to April. April would make posts where she would, people go through it's the Lions Den it's not as seen on TV. It's real people that will come in there and say real things. And then you get to see the power of a community when somebody's having a day or somebody's going through something or somebody's feeling unmotivated. You get 5, 6, 7 other people swinging in saying, hey, keep going. It's okay. If you messed up yesterday, that was yesterday. Get back up and just keep going today. That was one of the things that Ann said that always stuck with me. If you had a bad weekend, you ate a little bit too much, don't worry about that. Tomorrow, get back up and keep going.
absolutely.
And just things like that were huge, just being a part of a community and having that game changer.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So the people who are listening and watching, they might be on the fence, man. Because I know sometimes when people join, they don't just find my page and then just join out of nowhere. Like I've been doing this over 15 years, and every now and then you'll have a person who's just like, "Yeah, that's my guy." From day, watch me one day. But majority of people, they have to warm up to me a couple of days, maybe a week, maybe a couple of months, some people years. But for those who are on the fence, what would you say to that person to get them off the fence and say, to get them going inside the coaching program?
I would say if you want to be successful, you got to do things that make you uncomfortable. If you sitting there on the fence and you straddling the fence, should I not, whether it's can I do it or can I afford it or whatever that voice in your mind that's got you at the edge of the cliff hesitating to jump. I want you to remember, you can only grow from being uncomfortable. If you're ready to change your life, if you're ready to take that jump, if you're ready to really lock in, then meet me in the Lions Den. Because that's what we doing. We going and growing. Everybody in there is going and growing, and we're doing it together in a community. It's you may be alone right now because you're trying to figure it out, but making this decision to become a part of this community and have a seat at this table, it's you can't lose. The only thing that's stopping you is you, and you put yourself in the situation you in right now. So get out of your own way and commit.
Oof. That's a word, man. Man, Lance, I want to take a second to just give you your flowers before we head out, man. Super proud of you. You know, I remember on the call, you know, and I know we didn't mention this during the earlier parts of the podcast, but you know, Goldie, she reached out to me, you know, and you did actually mention that. But during the call, normally it's just one call. You know, when people before they jump on the game plan call with me, I send out an overview video of my program. And then I talk about, hey, look, man, I'm busy. It's a lot of people on my calendar that I got to speak to. So it's one call. Got a spouse, you know, bring them to the call so we can go ahead and get you going if I see I can help you type thing. And, you know, during the call, you were like, hey, look, got to talk to the wife real quick. Let me just talk to her. Y'all jumped off for a quick second. And then you shot me a text. Let's run it. Let's go. You know, so just that level of just being willing to commit, you know, and so I'm really proud of you for making that decision. And it's a decision. That's what I tell people, guys. When you decide enough is enough, I can't keep going this direction, because if I keep going this direction, you know what that might get you. You know, already getting bad. But when you make a decision, it's like, all right, it's time to go to work, you know? Right. Also being a supportive husband for your wife, even though you weren't like fully in it yet, you know?
Right. That was the thing, Coach. I wasn't, you know, but you know, I had to do what was right by her. You know, it's like I told you, you know, as husbands and fathers, what do? We support. We the pillars, right? My wife is having a challenge. She wants to lose weight. She's giving me 4 beautiful children. I kind of contributed to this in a way, right? So it's only right that I'm going to support you to get back what you feel like you may have lost through our journey of being together, right? And that was the thing that I feel like the Most High shined on me for, because loving your wife actually helped me change my life. That's the moral of the story. Loving my wife the way the Most High loved, He called out assembly, is the exact thing that changed my life. And it's actually changed my entire family. We don't buy Pop-Tarts at the store no more, right? My kid's mad because I'm not buying that Frosted Flake no more, right? Y'all gonna have to do something better. Get a banana, get an apple.
There you go.
You know, so it's amazing, Coach.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm proud of you. And that's the high note right there, man. So we gonna leave off on that one. Hope you guys, found this helpful. I know somebody's life is gonna change from listening to this, man. No question about it. But with that said, we out of here. Let's get it.
Let go.
Yo, appreciate you for tapping in and listening to the podcast episode today. Hopefully you found it valuable. And if you did, and you want to learn more about how I can help you lose the big ass stomach, transform your body, and get your health on point, DM me real results over on Instagram at JJacksonOfficial for more information. And I'll reach back out to you to do what I can to help you hit those health and fitness goals. Let's get it.